In today's show, we look ahead to Saturday in the NBA, how we can stream in to win, hopefully, our matchup. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. And thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. So, Saturday, normally I would do a what to watch for show of like, this is who's in and who's out, but I think it's best at this point in the season to just say, what are we streaming in? The same way that I do it for Sunday, we're going to do it for Saturday as well. What categories are we looking to attack? You've got 2 days left. How to play the schedule, which guys we're getting in for what particular categories. You've probably saved moves up. You maybe haven't, but if you do have moves left, that's what we're trying to do, is get the wins in particular categories. It's not about value. It's not about overall numbers. It's not about next week or 2 weeks' time. It's about what can you do today and tomorrow. And that's what we're going to look at here. So, warning.
Let's get it on, Gilly.
All right. Yahoo Points leagues. This is streaming guys in. We'll talk about the back-to-backs later. Streaming guys in for action on Saturday. Xavier T. Illman. No Steven Adams. No Brandon Clark. Tillman got into foul trouble last game and played like 22 minutes. He's a really, really straightforward stream. If he is available, he should be rostered basically everywhere. I don't really see why you wouldn't. There's no real need not to. He just should be as simple as that, I think, to look at Xavier Tillman as a 12-team league guy in points and category leagues. He is available in lots of different spots still. And I guess people did drop him after what transpired last game where he played those 22 minutes. Yeah, 22 minutes. They also have a pretty strong schedule where they go Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So it's on, off, on, off, on. That's really good. Like in the next 8 days, we've got 5 games. It's really strong. In Charlotte, I don't know about Mark Williams' thumb. I don't. They haven't given us an update. He hurt it, he came back, and he was ruled out for the game. I'm going to guess, given where they are in the standings, given that he's a young player, given that he has a thumb sprain, that he probably sits one of these 2 games, if not both, if not literally the rest of the season for Williams. That is possible as well. So we're looking at Big Dick Nick Richards. Richards should be able to get good minutes, assuming he doesn't foul out, and he is a priority add. Now, that will seem weird because I know a lot of you will look ahead to next week and go, oh, the Hornets play only 2 games, and that is true. But they also play 3 games in the next 4 nights. Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday. So 2-game week is true if we're only looking at a structured Monday to Sunday situation. Over the next 4 nights, they are the best team in the NBA, along with a few others. And Richards has an opportunity to pile up 120 minutes in the next 4 nights. 120? No, 90 minutes. 90 minutes in the next 4. You're playing 40 minutes a night. 90 minutes in the next 4 nights. He can put that up. Add him. It might blow up. Like, they might say we're trotting out Marky Williams here, but they had a history already when Williams was the backup that on a back-to-back, they would just switch it over and put Richards in anyway. So I think given there's an injury doubt, there's almost no chance to me that Mark Williams is playing on Saturday, but I don't know that yet. Tari, tank season, is a great stream. They have a pretty strong schedule as well. They've got 5 games in the next 8 days. They play Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, on, off, on, off, on, off. Easton's getting 27 minutes a night. We love it. Detroit, this is iffy. I don't know what they're going to do. Marvin Bagley last game played 21 minutes. That's Marvin Bagley the third. He played 21 minutes last game. They have a strong 3-game in 4-night stretch coming up. There's no Isaiah Stewart, but we don't know whether Bogdanovic is going to play. I'll suggest he doesn't. But they are still Bagley the third, Bagley the fourth, and Duran in that mix. But Marvin Bagley the third is a pretty good points league option. And he's available in a lot of spots. I would make sure all three of those big men are on rosters, but there is a good opportunity here for Marvin Bagley. Cole Anthony, really hard to project sort of player. Look at his last 5 games. 33 minutes, great. 29, awesome. 24, sick. Not so sick. 33, unbelievable. 22, yuck. It's just all over the place. But they play on Saturday. Now, their schedule isn't quite as good because they don't play Sunday, Monday. But if you're just looking for a little bit of a Yahoo Points boost, there we are. I just talked all that time about Marvin Bagley III, and then 2 names under it, Marvin Bagley IV was James Wiseman. Well, everything I said for Bagley III applies to Wiseman in terms of the schedule. The role is probably a little bit more secure for Jimmy. But I don't know what they're going to do every game. But he's worth looking at. And then, passport legend, Jalen Duren's there as well. Really strong for those 3 Pistons big men. I talked about the Rockets already, and KJ Martin's a guy that's available. They, to me, are the top 8 guys who are available for fantasy points for Saturday, who are available in at least 40% of leagues. And I gave you a little bit of a discussion on some of the value that they can provide moving forward also. For ESPN Points leagues, a lot of the names are the same. These guys are all available in over 70% of ESPN leagues. We've already touched on Tillman, Richards, Eason, Bagley, Duren, and Martin. 2 of the names do come up here. Tyus Jones, yes, absolutely must roster, absolutely everywhere. We don't know when Ja Morant is coming back. It was at least 4 more games. He's got at least 3 more of those to go. So the earliest he can return is next Friday. I really don't think he will, but I don't know. And that means we just roll with Tyus Jones, especially for Saturday, but we just keep rolling with him. And the other name on this list is Dante DiVincenzo, who was disgustingly bad yesterday. There's absolutely no getting around that. He was terrible. I'm not expecting Wiggins to play on Saturday. They play Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. So, again, that's 8 nights, 5 games. That's a pretty strong schedule. And DiVincenzo should at least be able to hit 30 minutes in 1 to 2 of those games. But on Saturday, I know that it was pretty poor last time out for him. I think he's going to be better than that. And I think he's absolutely worth grabbing if he was dropped. And he is available, obviously, because he's 70% plus available in ESPN, so he's available in tons of spots. So to me, they're the best 8 guys who are available in a chunk of leagues over on ESPN who can provide that value for you on Saturday. Today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. You might have stress related to work, relationships, deaths in the family, illness, fantasy basketball lineups. I don't know. But everything can get to us in one way or another. And figuring out how best to cope with that is what therapy is all about. BetterHelp is here to help you go through that lifelong process. We're all growing and changing, and understanding those tools that we need and deepening our self-awareness is something that therapy helps us with. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on that journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. It's easy to get into downward spirals and to get down on ourselves, but finding those coping skills is what these therapists are able to provide for you. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, it's convenient, it's flexible, it's suited to your schedule. You just do a brief questionnaire, you fill it out, and they find someone that matches for you. But if that person doesn't work for you, well, you're able to just switch your therapist to find the right connection with no additional charge. Discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. Let's go to category leagues now. What are we going to do for the major categories? Who are we streaming in for their value in each category on Saturday? And I know it's hard. I know it's hard, but we have to look at him.
The world.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks, the king of the no shot is too bad for me to take, and I'm the best player in the world every time I step on the court. He is going to take more shots because Ja Morant isn't there. And he is going to miss a lot of them, but he's also going to be able to put up points. Like, he could easily have 16 or 17 points. It's not easy to find 16 or 17 points on the waiver wire. The interesting thing is the top 2 names here who are available in over 50% of leagues, Dylan Brooks and Lou Dort, are 2 of the worst shot makers you'll ever see. But they're going to take their fair share of shots. They're just not going to go in. But they can have those hot nights where they drop 20 or 17 or 16. And you have to be willing to take on that field goal percentage hit, but the volume is going to be pretty solid for them. After that, there's not many big points guys there. They're not even that big points guys. Like, out of this list of guys, and if you're on YouTube, you can see the list. We'll go through it in a sec. Like, who are these guys do you say, they can score 20? Probably Dort, maybe Brooks, probably Cole Anthony. That's probably it, yeah? There's not that many guys you can find like that. KJ Martin's a good points guy. Again, he could get 20, I guess, but if Kevin Porter plays, it does limit him a little bit, but he's more of a 15-point guy, which is still okay. Josh Okogie, who knows? Do we get the Josh Okogie from before Durant debuted, or the one that we saw last game when Durant got hurt, where he was useless? Or the guy we've seen for 4 years who can't shoot ever and is a low-usage player? Or the weird guy that we saw for 5 games in Phoenix become the best player in the world? Which one of those is real? I know which one is real, but can he sort of approximate a little bit more usage? He's still worth looking at because I think he's going to get good minutes, but he also might not. Because last game he played 23 minutes, even with Durant out. Cole Anthony, we just talked about. He is an absolute wild card. He might play 30 minutes, score 20 points on 6 shots. He might play 21 minutes, have 2 points on 9 shots. This is the issue with Cole Anthony. We know this. No Colin Sexton, so Taylor Horton-Tucker is going to get minutes. He's going to get shots up. And actually, he's a guy that can score 20. He can also score 5, but he can score 20. He's a pretty good option there too. Tari, tank season. Really good opportunity for him as well. The minutes feel secure in a range where we're happy with it. And then there's Nick Richards, who's not going to be a big scorer, but again, our assumption is Mark Williams is out. So Richards might be a 14-point per game guy. He might get 15 points on 6 shots. That's possible for him as well. Be a high-efficiency scorer who's going to get more opportunities, considering his backup is almost definitely going to be Kai Jones. 3-pointers. Isaiah Joe. Now, for the Thunder, Jalen Williams, the Bronco, is back.
Broncos country, let's ride.
So is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They are both back and playing on Saturday. No idea whether they play on Sunday, but they are both back and playing on Saturday. But Joe is still going to get 21 minutes. So this is not like we can only use Joe as a 3-point streamer when Shai is out, because he still will play 20 minutes and he still can have 9 points with 3 threes. That is all we're looking at here. His value goes up, even though last game it wasn't because he played 19 minutes in that really bad beatdown. He still should be able to get you 3-point streaming value even with those players out. Again, if you're just looking at last game, you don't want to look at Dante DiVincenzo. But I do think he's a pretty good stream option for threes. No Wiggins we're expecting. He's not going to play the 21 minutes that he did last game. I don't think he is going to be the guy that moves to the bench because they're not going to go with that 4-guard lineup again. Imagine they bench DiVincenzo and keep Poole in there, who's been unbelievably bad. They could, but I think DiVincenzo's role is pretty secure. Reggie Bullock, much like Isaiah Joe, what else are you getting? Now, I don't know. Look, Bullock is a guy that for 2 months of the year is the worst shooter in the world and then starts to put it on towards the end of the year. He missed last game, but he is back and ready to go, and Luka is out for Saturday. So he might have 15 points with 5 threes here, Reggie. He could even be a point streamer, but he's more of a 3-point streamer. This is disgusting, but it's true. Rodney Magruder is an option. This is mainly because I don't think Bogdanovic is going to play, and for some reason, I don't know what it is, but they start Magruder over Killian Hayes, and they play him 20 minutes. And he doesn't do anything else, but he might hit 3 threes. It's iffy, because logic, common sense would tell us that he shouldn't play. But it's Dwayne Casey, man, so what does logic and common sense have to do with it? Gaz Harris, straight back into starting in his return from injury. They love what he does spacing-wise and defensively. Good combination. Suggs does it defensively, doesn't do it spacing-wise. So Gaz played 30 minutes in his first game back. That's what he is. He's like a 45% 3-point shooter, I think, this season. Same as the Duck Luke Kennard, who's been a 45% 3-point shooter for about 3 years. He doesn't do much more there. Jordan Nwora gets his 23 to 25 minutes off the bench for the Pacers. Gets a lot of shots up. He's actually a pretty interesting streamer in a lot of situations in Nwora, and he's available everywhere. And then Dylan Brooks, again, who's going to take shots. Maybe he has 14 points with 3 threes. That's possible. That's not a bad. It's not a bad return from adding a Dylan Brooks in that situation. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are coming, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. And then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scorers, even the old 3-pointers drained. If we look at Friday's action, what stands out to me here? The Brooklyn Nets are 4.5-point underdogs. Are they reacting to what happened yesterday? Because all of those players that rested yesterday are back. Are the Wolves going to cover it by 4.5? They probably do. But what if Mikal Bridges goes Mikal Bridges again? Interesting. We'll check that one out. FanDuel also lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. Don't miss the chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Let's look at rebound streaming. Big Dick Nick at the top there, Nick Richards. Again, all the assumption here is that Mark Williams will not play. I don't know that for sure, and I'm going to keep refreshing this screen so that by the end of this show, I can tell you whether there has been any update on Mark Williams. But these are, I think they're pretty obvious, a lot of these ones. Jalen Duren played 21 minutes his first game back. Hopefully, we give him more minutes there, the passport legend. He's a good rebound streamer. Kevon Looney, that's all he does. I'm pretty sure he's not going to play under 20 minutes next game. It won't be 27-28. He only seems to do that when Draymond is out. But in 23 24 minutes, he can get 6 or 7 boards. Tari Eason's a very strong rebounder. Xavier T. Illman is a really good rebound guy as well. Kevin Love. Now, I don't believe for a single second that Kevin Love's a must-roster player, and the Heat are on a Friday, Saturday back-to-back, so there's a little bit of iffiness there with Love. But in his 21 minutes, he can get 6 or 7. That's what we're really looking for here, a 5 to 6 to 7 rebound player. And Kevin Love can produce that. KJ Martin's a strong rebounder. And if you want to get really deep into the weeks, Isaiah Hartenstein. Now, last game for the Knicks, they played a lot of Hartenstein with no Mitch Robinson, who got into foul trouble early, and then they just ran with Hartenstein. He played 25 minutes. That is not likely to be the norm, but Hartenstein still as the reserve who might play 18 minutes, 17 minutes. There's 5 rebounds or so there. But you can see there is a little bit of a drop-off there, probably after Tillman. Those first 5 are pretty strong. The others, maybe not as strong. I want to talk about not as strong, the assists streaming, as it always is. I still believe that Killian Hayes is an assist streamer. I don't know what they're going to do with minutes. 19 minutes last game was insane, but we will see. Does he go back to 27 minutes? Does he start again? He's still got, I think, 5 assists in those 19 minutes anyway, but there's no one else on this list. Maybe Horton Tucker. There's no one else on this list who's really got 9, 10 assist upside like Hayes does. And I said that this was a pretty shitty list, but maybe it's not. The first 5 names are not bad assist guys here. You got the 2 Utah guys, Horton Tucker and Dunn. Horton Tucker will start. Dunn will come off the bench. Horton Tucker probably plays 29. Dunn probably plays 24 minutes. And both guys can get you 5 to 6 assists pretty easily. Maybe there's a little bit more upside on Horton Tucker. I do believe that for assists. But they're both options. Cole Anthony, again, always a hit or miss situation. At least with assists, he doesn't have to miss shots to get them. Just he needs the other teammates to make them. But he does have an opportunity to play more minutes if the shot goes in, which helps. Dennis Smith's probably a 6 assist guy most nights. And the Hornets, bad Week 21 schedule, as I said before, but Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, a great little 4-day stretch coming up. It also is why it's important to understand the surrounding days, not just the Monday to Sundays. Monday to Sundays, a 2-game week. Man, I got to drop Dennis Smith. Well, you don't really. You can hold him through Tuesday and get the 3 games in. Pat Beverly, Corey Joseph, TJ McConnell, my last 3. McConnell's got the upside there. The other 2 are just like, ugh, are they actually giving these blokes minutes? Not so much with Beverly, but with Corey Joseph. And the answer is Corey Joseph, they are giving him minutes. Again, I don't know why. I have no idea. They're doing it though. And Joseph does become at least a deeper league streamer. Well, McConnell, last game played 24 minutes. And I know that Benedict Mathurin is out. He is out Saturday and Monday. Does that mean they give those extra minutes to McConnell? Do they give them to Duarte? Don't know. TJ's not a bad guy to stream. If they give him 25 minutes, there's probably 12-team value in him. I'm not 100% convinced that they do that, but it's distinctly possible. If he gets those 25, there's a lot of value in TJ McConnell. And that'll carry over to the next category as well, because we're going to talk steals. And McConnell's not on this list, but include in there. A lot of steals. Guys, there's always lots of steals streaming. Caruso, one of the best steals guys out there.
Be quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
Alex Caruso's a great steals guy. Whether he starts or not, I assume he starts, but he's also, look at his minutes. 26, great. 20, 19, yuck. 27, awesome. 18, yuck. All right, that's unpredictable. We don't know. So we can't rely upon Caruso for anything more than getting a couple of steals, but he's one of the best at doing that. Josh Okogie, the minutes should push him a little bit higher here, so I do like him. Tillman's one of the best steals big men in the NBA, and he should have unfettered access to 30 minutes if he doesn't get in foul trouble. Killian Hayes is always a good steals guy. Killian, look, these Caruso, Okogie, Hayes, Smith, Dunn, I would say, all have 5 steal upside. Tillman's probably a 2 steal guy. DiVincenzo's probably a 2-3 steal upside guy. And Suggs is maybe a 4 steal upside guy. But Dunn, Smith, Hayes, Okogie, Caruso have 5 steal upside. It's not going to happen often, but when it does happen, you go, 5. Where did that come from? You know that it's a possibility. So all of those guys have some really, really good stream value. And you've got DiVincenzo in there and Suggs. It is, and something I found a lot this year doing these shows is getting 3s off the waiver wire, piece of piss. Getting steals off the waiver wire, equally piece of piss. Almost equally. They seem to be the 2 easiest categories to be able to stream in decent value with upside in value as well. Like we could say, well, maybe we can get 3 assists from someone off the wire, but getting a 7 assist guy is very hard. Hitting a 7 3-pointer guy off the wire, hitting a 5 steal guy off the wire, it happens all the time. It just doesn't happen for a lot of the other categories. For blocks, and they're one of them. It's so hard to get big blocks off the wire. Nick Richards clearly leads the way here. He's a great ad. Schedule, situation, one game, all that is good. I put Isaiah Jackson next, and I just do not know. I don't know. Because his role has been all over the place. Primary backup, 17 minutes. Primary backup, 20 minutes. Tertiary backup, and played 9 and 8 minutes because Turner got into foul trouble. Do they switch back to giving Isaiah Jackson the first crack at backup minutes? My theory is, I don't know if it's right, my theory is it's 2 games on, 2 games off. So it was Jackson, then it was Smith. This is how the pattern has been the last 6 games. 20 minutes Jalen Smith, 16 minutes Jalen Smith, 17 minutes Isaiah Jackson, 20 minutes Isaiah Jackson, 21 minutes Jalen Smith, 16 minutes Jalen Smith. That's an established pattern. 2-2-2. So, if it holds, we go back here to Isaiah Jackson getting 2 games as the primary backup. I don't know that it's going to hold. So, taking a flyer on Isaiah Jackson when he might get a big fat 0 is still a possibility. But that is how the pattern has gone. Smith, Jackson, Smith. So, we're ready for Jackson. We'll find out. Jalen Duren, yes, great block streamer. Tari Eason, he's probably not a high volume upside guy, maybe 1 to 2. Muxie Kleber is probably a 1 to 2 blocks guy as well, but he's fit and ready to go, which is great. Damian Jones is the backup now in Utah. They could switch that to Azubuike at any point. I don't think they would because Azubuike is honestly just not an NBA player. So there's a little bit there for Jonesy to get a block or 2. That's desperation stuff. And then real desperation stuff is picking point guards like Horton, Tucker, and Beverly. Now, they're much better than their peers at blocking shots, and maybe they get you 1. But even after Duren, it's pretty bare to get a blocks guy off the wire. It's pretty tough to do. Field goal percentage, a lot of the same names we've mentioned already. Jalen Duren, Xavier T. Illman, Nick Richards, Kevon Looney, Dwight Powell. That's his real strength, his field goal percentage. KJ Martin, Andre Drummond, and Jackson Hayes. They're not going to do much more because their volume is pretty low, but they can have a slight influence on the field goal percentage category. And if we go to free throws here, I like Cole Anthony, Malik Monk. His minutes and production's been so all over the place. Grayson Allen's an excellent free throw guy. Aaron Neesmith's a pretty good guy there. Kennard, Gary Harris, Flaming Mo Wagner. Even though I do expect Wendell Carter to be back, Mo Wagner as a backup can be a good free throw player. And then I don't know why I wrote his name as Kevon Love. It's not Kevon, it's Kevin Love. And he's a good free throw shooter as well. The back-to-back, Saturday, Sunday. Here's 8 names of guys who play across that back-to-back. Nick Richards, Isaiah Joe. Obviously, we've got the Hornets. You've got the Thunder. You've got Josh Richardson, the Pelicans. Dennis Smith, Lou Dort, Isaiah Hartenstein in the Knicks, Pig Williams in the Thunder, and Najee Marshall in the Pelicans, with the uncertainty around Brandon Ingram and his ankle injury. But there are 8 names with the Saturday, Sunday back-to-back that you can pay attention to and get some value out of. What about the next 4 nights? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So end of this week, start of next week. Saturday's a 10-game day, so all of this talk about me streaming in today, it might not be possible for you. So congratulations if you made it through this far. But if we're just looking at the low-volume Sunday, Monday, Tuesday group, these 8 names all play 2 low-volume days over the next 4 nights. Dylan Wright, Zach Collins, Trey Murphy, Dan Gafford, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Jalen Duren, Matisse Thybulle, and Isaiah Joe. All of them have some pretty decent value over those next 4 nights with 2 low-volume days. And if we just look at the next 4 in total, These first 7 guys, I think, on a per-game basis, are top 100 players over the next 4 nights. Per game. Delon Wright with 2 games. Zach Collins with 2. Kyle Anderson only 1. But he's still so valuable, but it's only 1 game. Tari Eason 2. Trey Murphy with 3. Xavier Tillman with 2. Cole Anthony with 2. And then Jalen Duren with 3 games in the next 4 nights, which brings me to talking about the 7 teams. 7 teams play 3 games in the next 4 nights. New Orleans, Detroit, Oklahoma City, the Knicks, the Suns, the Bucks, and the Hornets. And every one of those teams plays on Tuesday next week. So they've either got a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back, or they've got a Monday, Tuesday back-to-back in there. But there are 7 teams that play 3 games over the next 4 nights. Pelicans, Pistons, Thunder, Knicks, Suns, Bucks, Hornets. And those ones that have the Saturday, Sunday back-to-back, the Thunder, the Knicks, the Hornets, right? Real good value in streaming those guys in, and Pelicans, because you get not only the Saturday, Sunday back-to-back, but you also chuck in a Tuesday in there as well. So a sneaky weekend back-to-back plus 3 games in 4 nights is fantastic value on those players. As for, say, the Raptors, after Friday, they don't play till Tuesday. So that the hold of Gary Trent, useless. You would 3 games with no action from Toronto, I think you have to move on from him. And that's where you start to consider other drops. Is Anunoby a drop? Is Barnes a drop? Maybe. Consider it. Guys, that'll do it for me today. Don't forget, follow this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and on the Odyssey app. And if you're here on YouTube, you thumb it up and you leave those comments down below. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.